under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Item number 4, read and approve the minutes of the regularly scheduled meeting of the Planning Commission held on April 15th, 2024. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve from Mr. Hall, second from Mr. Rice. Any discussion? Vote to approve the minutes as written. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Okay, minutes pass 4-0. General public comments of items not on the agenda. At this point in time, I would like to invite anyone from the public that would wish to speak on items not pertaining to today's agenda. You have 3 minutes. Seeing none, I will close item number 5 and move to reports of officers and staff. Mr. Rice. Mr. Rush.
Thank you. Our next scheduled training session is June 12th, which is a Wednesday from 5 to 7. That is it.
All right, thank you. All right, moving on to new, there is no old business, so moving on to new business, subdivision plats. Number 1 is Southern Harmony Estates Major Subdivision Preliminary Plat, and it has been postponed by the applicant, so we will move on to the zoning. 8B1, zoning map amendment, ZMA 291, a request to rezone property located at 507 South Washington Street from general commercial C2 zoning district to the neighborhood commercial C3 zoning district. The applicant is Mr. Jackie Duncan. I'd invite Mr. Duncan to come forth and tell us about his plan or wishes. I'm not sure. Mr. Duncan, you're recognized.
Gentlemen, ladies, gentlemen. I've just found out I haven't had a zoning problem after 40 years. I've lived at the residence for 40 years. And I'm getting some major work done. Actually, it was a city-sponsored or a city aware of the program itself. And I would have thought all this had been taken care of on the front end, but obviously not. But I've lived there 40 years as a residential neighbor in the block, and all of a sudden I'm trying to get rezoned now, so to get back in this, get the program back going. So.
All right. Well, thank you, Mr. Duncan. All right. This is a public hearing, so any from the public that wishes to speak on this, come forward. Seeing none, I will close the public hearing and staff report from Mr. Rush.
Yes, thank you. So C3 neighborhood commercial was developed to kind of go in between so they can still use single-family homes. It meets all the requirements for C3 zoning, and based upon my findings of fact, I recommend send favorable to Beaumont.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Rush. With that, motion?
Motion to send favorable recommendation to Beaumont.
All right. Motion from Mr. Hall.
Second.
Second from Mr. Comer. Any discussion? All right. Seeing none, I'll call the vote. All in favor of sending a favorable recommendation to the Board of Mayor and Aldermen based on findings and fact from the staff? Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstained? Motion passes from Mr. Hall 4-0. Item number 2, zoning map amendment ZMA 292, a request to rezone the property along Southwest Atlantic Street and West Monroe Street from the general commercial C2 zoning district to the neighborhood commercial C3 zoning district. The applicant is Mr. Mike Winton and George Cooley. I'd invite the applicant, Mr. Winton, to come forth. And Mr. Winton, you're recognized.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for hearing this. It's a real simple request. We're just looking to be consistent with the other recently changed plats that are on that block, and just requested change to C3 from C2.
All right, thank you, Mr. Winton. All right, this is a public hearing, so anyone from the public who wishes to speak? Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing and move to the staff report from Mr. Rush.
Yes, thank you. So back in December, this applicant come to us and requested to actually be rezoned for 3 lots, pretty much the exact same parcel size for C3 zoning. It meets all those requirements, so staff recommends to send, based on findings of fact, to send a favorable recommendation to Beaumont.
All right, thank you, Mr. Rush. Motion?
Motion to send favorable recommendation based on findings of fact.
Motion from Mr. Hall, second.
Second.
Second from Mr. Comer. Any discussion on this matter? All right, seeing none, I'll call the vote. All in favor of sending a favorable recommendation to the Board of Mayor and Aldermen based on findings and fact from the staff, from Tullahoma staff, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion passes 4-0. That is the end of our new business. So the Planning Commission session is adjourned, and we will move on to the Board of Zoning Appeals regular meeting agenda. I'll call this meeting to order. We do have a quorum based on the four here. Item number 2, read and approve the minutes of the April 15th, 2024 meeting. A motion for those?
Motion to approve.
Motion from Mr. Hall, second from Mr. Comer. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion passes 4-0. There is no old business. There is no new business. So we are adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, that might have been the easiest one yet. Thanks for sharing. Sorry you're late. We up.